Good morning, Drew. We are so excited to discover how people are utilizing Apple Intelligence.
What now? What happened?
With new capabilities like proofread and image playgrounds and Genmoji, AI just got real.
Are you talking to me, Tim? Who are these features for exactly?
For iPhone users, the iPhone is the most popular device in the world, and we were excited to bring generative AI capabilities to the masses.
Huh. Somehow I didn't know about it. I didn't get any updates on my over $1,000 iPhone 15 Plus.
Oh, right. Actually, you don't get any of those features.
What? Even after spending all of that money? You know what? I actually don't care. Those features suck, Tim.
What? How could that? Why?
Well, the notification summaries are horribly inaccurate. The image generator looks worse than pretty much any other we've seen in the history of the world. The proofread features aren't as good as Grammarly, and ChatGPT already existed as a third-party application.
You spoke too fast. Why don't you write all that up in an email, send it to me, and then Apple Intelligence will summarize it for me in a condensed, simplified, easy-to-understand format, and then I'll shove it up your butt.
Oh, that's not right. There was really no way it could live up to the hype, right? I mean, iOS 18.2 has finally shipped to the masses. I've had it for a few weeks now. My wife is also rocking it on her phone, and we've really tried. We've both really tried to find a way to get excited or get impressed by Apple Intelligence, and I gotta admit, with a few exceptions, it's pretty much all just been a massive disappointment. I use image generators for my work a lot, actually. It's helpful to be able to use images that you know are not copyrighted, but you still want to be able to post things about a particular product or service. So I've used image generators like the one Grok has because I am one of those weirdos who pays for Twitter Premium or X Premium. It's only because it pays for itself, because I'm a content creator and I tweet so much and I'm using Twitter so much. It basically doesn't cost me anything to use, but it's pretty good. But suddenly Image Playgrounds comes out and I didn't realize how bad image generators could be, especially launching at the end of 2024. And it seems like most of the internet, despite how much I complain about it, just wants me to be impressed by the fact that it's all done on device. But guys, I'm sorry. Apple spent a good 15 minutes of Dub explaining how they can build large language models into the cloud and access larger, more complicated servers when you're asking a more intricate question, and do it in a way that is private and encrypted and all that. So why am I supposed to believe that it's impressive when the image generator so clearly sucks compared to any other image generator out there, simply because, well, this one is private. Your privacy is secure. I just don't buy it. I don't think there's a lot of people out there looking for image generators that are purely done locally on their iPhone. I don't see the use case for that, and similarly, I see people use the same like 80 emojis every day. Knowing that the third-party apps and social medias limit you on what emojis you can actually use, that inherently prevents the adoption of Genmojis. In my opinion, that's part of the reason we didn't see a lot of memojis take off over time. Even though Apple spent a lot of time letting you customize them a million different ways, anytime you actually want to interact with people on Discord or on Twitter or on Threads or on Blue Sky or Facebook or whatever, it basically has to convert it into a obnoxiously large 1000 by 1000 PNG file, and people just aren't gonna do that. It's just too niche. The tech community probably thinks it's a bigger deal than it really is, and the notification summaries have been like downright liabilities now for Apple. I don't know if you guys saw the story, but without getting too into the controversy, there was an iOS AI summarization of a news story that blatantly disregarded an actual news report and made a lot of people worry about what was actually going on. I don't think this caused too many issues because most people probably just opened the notification and saw that it got it wrong. But this is not an isolated instance. I've seen other people out there complaining that like their wife was at work and texted them that they just had a small accident, so they're running a little bit late, and the iOS summary was like their wife was in a horrible car accident. Like, it does not summarize the notifications well, and that makes me have a hard time trusting any of the summaries, whether it's a text message or an email. I just don't know what to think. I always read it and go, yeah, I'm probably missing a bit of context there, and it makes me want to open it more. If anything, it's honestly making me check my texts and emails more than before, because I just feel like I'm not getting them. So before you all comment this a million times with me complaining about how much this new AI sucks, even the new Siri, which I got on 18.2 doesn't answer questions more eloquently or more clearly than the previous generation, there's still very easily things you can think of within a minute that it doesn't know the answer to that it clearly should. Like, it should know how much storage I have left on my phone. It should know how much time I have left for the phone to charge to full or drain to empty. Very basic things that it just does not know, and horrible formatting when you ask about, like, simple things with your phone, like, what connector do I have? And it's like, you have USB, and you also have C connector. Also, just straight up wrong information. It was telling people that the iPhone 15 used a lightning connector. So before you all start commenting with all of this hatred, yes, I actually am going to turn it off. That's why I'm making this video, is because Apple Intelligence was marketing cranked up to 11. Like, they were acting like this was the next biggest thing. They were really treating it like 5G was treated in 2020, and I was sick of that. I hated all of the hype surrounding 5G, acting like it was going to give you gigabit speeds everywhere you went, and in reality, it was just a little bit faster than LTE. Maybe if you're lucky, twice as fast, but 4G was objectively being slowed down so that 5G could be faster, but also substantially drain your battery and overheat the phone way more than before. But at least you could argue back in 2020, there were some 5G situations that were objectively faster and better than before. I don't think I really have that with AI. Like, I was annoyed with all of the 5G hype, but I left 5G on my iPhone. I was like, well, yeah, of course I want the faster speeds. They're not as fast as the marketing team is making them out to be, but yeah, of course, I do want the fastest internet I could get. But with this, like, the summarizations are so frustrating. They're so wrong. The image playground filters are so embarrassingly bad. They're kind of cringy, like how much eye bags they'll put under my eyes. Sometimes they'll forget pupils. And this is on the latest generation, best of the best iPhone 16 Pro Max. First of all, using any of these features drains my battery like crazy. I've never seen anything drain my iPhone battery faster than image playgrounds. It gets teeth wrong. It made me feel self-conscious about the way I look. And my wife tried using it on her phone, and she was horribly disgusted by everything it cranked out and just said, it looks bad, it looks horrible, never show this to me again. So the Siri doesn't feel smarter at all than it did before, which is, I think, what everybody for years was all expecting Apple Intelligence to do. Like, could we get an actually smart Siri? And no, we didn't get that. The summarization of notifications is horribly wrong and gives me trust issues with my phone to where now I have to open and read thoroughly every single email to make sure I'm not missing any details. Image Playgrounds is a joke, and the proofread tools, in my experience, are not that good. Anytime there's auto replies in iMessage, it wants to use yeah all too frequently. It doesn't understand the way I type. So I'm sorry, like, unlike the whole 5G hype thing, I'm literally just gonna turn this off. I am not going to utilize the Apple Intelligence features because they're just objectively bad. They're worse for my battery life, and I don't intend on using any of them, even a little bit. With one exception. Okay, fine. All right. I'll give you one bone, Apple. Here's one thing that I really appreciated, but also I don't think this should be limited to iPhones with 8 gigs of RAM. Okay, the one thing I'll give you is the cleanup feature in Photos. It's kind of hit or miss. Sometimes it doesn't work at all, but there have been various circumstances, at least in my line of work for doing all kinds of renders or AI-generated imagery. It's helpful sometimes when you want to take a picture of a vehicle and you want to erase a license plate. Cleanup is pretty darn good at it. My wife also several times has been very impressed with the cleanup feature. She was making new passport photos and all that stuff, and she liked that, kind of like a makeup tool, she could just quickly circle little like specks on her face to remove little imperfections here and there. And I was like, honey, you're beautiful the way you are. You don't need the Apple cleanup feature. And my wife was like, yes, but I like the cleanup feature on iOS 18.2 on my 15 Pro. Her words exactly. So when you're doing kind of photo editing stuff, it's nice to have that built right in. And there has been some times where I'm just able to quickly highlight something and it erases it pretty fast. So clean up, Apple. That was pretty good. I might use that one. But pretty much everything else is a complete suckfest, and I think it was inevitable that this was going to happen because Apple knew they were late to the game, so they were rushing their software team, rushing their developers to get these features out as quickly as they possibly can. And when these unnatural timelines come around and you're pushing your software team unnaturally quick to meet some kind of deadline for products or services that have never really existed before, they're going to feel rushed even when they do come out. And that's what leaves us in this horribly awkward and uncomfortable stage of iOS development, to where now reports are saying that because of how much time iOS 18 is taking to finalize, it's actually delaying and postponing a lot of features we're supposed to get with iOS 19. So this whole AI trend, all of this hype around generative AI features, is literally delaying actually real iOS features that we're supposed to get next year, because all of those additional software developers are all hands on deck with, we gotta get Genmoji working properly, we need that count cowboy frog. So we have an over-marketed, overhyped software feature that didn't launch with the iPhone 16s, even though that was their headlining feature everywhere. They were like, Apple Intelligence is here, even though it literally wasn't. They were putting that on the demo iPhones at the Apple Store. We literally saw this happen. It says, like, Apple Intelligence is here, and it was not. So it was overhyped, oversold, and then delivered late and poorly. And that's just a horrible position for Apple to be in. And that's why, in case you're wondering on this channel, I focus as much as I can about upcoming hardware, because the hardware stuff that Apple does, all directed by the beautiful and amazing John Turnus, who I think should be the next CEO. The hardware is real. The hardware is what's cool. Like, the best things Apple did this year was like M4 Mac Mini. That was fantastic. And of course, Apple Vision Pro. Still a lot of room for improvement, of course, but it definitely got way more people talking about Apple than any iPhone ever has recently. And it got everybody thinking about what the future of spatial computing could be. So, like, the hardware is what steals the show, in my opinion, with Apple. It's the silicon, it's the displays, it's the thinness of the new iPad Pros. But as impressive as that tandem OLED panel is, and how thin they're able to make a device that still is rocking an M4 processor and a Thunderbolt port, you know, there's so much great hardware there. But once we start talking about iPadOS, it's like, oh, yeah, okay, so now we've got a whole box of problems. So I apologize if you want more software coverage, but the software just never really feels done anymore, and definitely feels like they're just changing things for the sake of changing things. I haven't really even been in love with the new Mail app all that much. I just use all inboxes most of the time, and the Photos app, I'm still hearing complaints from everybody in my personal life about it. Everybody who's not a techie that I've talked to absolutely hates the new Photos app, and it's not even really the software team's fault. It's more of the executives at Apple just deciding that they need to change things so we have more things to talk about. But in reality, it's kind of like you rearranged everyone's houses without them asking for it to be rearranged, and now they're just confused and lost. So that's it. Other than the cleanup feature, Apple Intelligence review from me has been a complete disappointment. I would not factor it in at all if you're thinking about upgrading your iPhone in the near term. If someone is cross-shopping between an iPhone 15 and 16 and says, ooh, maybe I should get the 16 because it has Apple Intelligence, I want you to just look at them directly in the eyes if they say that, and just frickin' slap the crap out of them as hard as you physically can. YouTube, this is a joke. I am not condoning violence, but I am encouraging forceful wisdom to be embraced upon the sides of people's faces. Do not let people spend more money on any Apple product for the hope that they'll get access to some kind of Apple Intelligence features, because all of them are gimmicky. All of them suck. But other than all that, it's great. I now love it. What do you guys think of Apple Intelligence? Feel free to let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And thank you to everybody supporting this channel directly. Seriously, helps us out a ton, as does just watching these videos. So thanks again. This is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you all in the next one.